Dr. Michael Salla says everyone is missing the real story here. There is a hidden intent in his press briefing to liberate Washington, D.C. from the satanic forces that have run D.C. since its establishment. And Dr. Salla says it all has to do with the Freemasons that built Washington, D.C. and were infiltrated by dark forces. So to help educate us on this topic and dive deep on this, so many people have been asking, bring up the Masons on a regular basis in our comments feed. Dr. Michael Salla. Michael, it's great to see you again. We haven't seen you in quite a while. Welcome back to the show.
Thank you. Great to be back.
So can you explain, as we look at this unfinished pentagram here on the show, on this map, can you explain to me, like, first of all, what are we looking at here, and why do you think that this is a deeper move by President Trump to stop these demonic forces in Washington, D.C.?
Well, that dates back to the design of Washington, D.C. by a French architect, Pierre L'Enfant, who was a Freemason. And the Freemasons understood the power of symbols, occult symbols such as the pentagram, which is a way of being able to create a power vortex for various ceremonies. And so as far as the Freemasons associated with George Washington and Thomas Jefferson were concerned, they thought that this Freemason symbol would kind of like help establish or promote their idea of the new Atlantis, that America was the new Atlantis. It would be a place of high technology, abundance, and show the way for the rest of the planet. But what happened was that the Freemasons were infiltrated at the higher levels, and this is something that I've been able to confirm, that Freemasonry today typically have very positive views about Freemasonry and helping establish their goals, their positive goals. But at that level, 33rd degree, they are introduced to the deeper, darker mysteries, and they swear allegiance to these satanic forces that many Freemasons at that higher level believe who it was that established the ruling bloodline families going all the way back to Sumeria, Babylon, and so forth. And so these ruling bloodline families, they believe that they are the direct descendants of the gods, or the Anunnaki, the fallen angels, whatever you want to call them, and that those who are worthy of the truth will be initiated into those truths. So that's how they establish secret societies. But it is something that is segregated from the most practitioners of Freemasonry who know nothing about this up until the 33 degree level. And if they progress beyond that, then they're initiated into the kind of satanic practices that what enables a lot of these ruling bloodline families to get their power and to control the rest of the world.
You know, a lot of people in our chat room are saying you're spot on about this, and there's some really deep, dark forces here with this. A lot of people in our chat room saying that this even goes much higher than sort of like the levels that we know about in Freemasonry. There's like a whole other section of levels inside of this. Maybe you could talk a little bit about that. A number of people in our chat room are saying that.
Yes, well, those that progress beyond the 33 degree level, they are initiated into all of these occult programs. And so this power struggle, I think, is what's reflected in what's happening in Washington, D.C. now. I think Trump federalizing police in Washington, D.C. has much more to do than just dealing with criminals, petty crime, homeless vagrants, and so forth in Washington, D.C. This is the move that the White Hats have been waiting for, to finally take out the satanic cults that are in charge of Washington, D.C., and of these deep, dark projects. And the pentagram that you showed earlier on is vividly demonstrates how this was, from the very beginning, envisaged by these higher level Freemasons. Now, many critics will say, well, that's not a pentagram, that's something else, because you don't see it joined. You see the line from that, one of the lines doesn't extend across. to complete the pentagram. Well, actually, in occult circles, this is described as an incomplete or broken pentagram. Now, a pentagram normally is something that you can use to protect yourself from satanic forces, but the broken pentagram is an invitation for satanic forces to come out. And so you have that pentagram immediately above Washington, D.C. And I think this is what the intent was from the very beginning. The original intent was to establish the new Atlantis, something positive and hopeful for all humanity. But instead, through the broken pentagram and the establishment of these satanic groups in Washington, D.C., that control the power elite there, it became the center for this very aggressive American imperialism, which we have witnessed all around the world. But I think Donald Trump, he's working with these very positive white hat forces, the Earth Alliance, to take Washington, D.C. back and to remove the satanic groups from the power they hold. And they are very, very dark and very powerful, but they can be removed from power.
Well, we know how deeply dark these satanic forces are in Washington, D.C. I mean, just hear the horror stories, these parties, all sorts of really disgusting stuff that happens in Washington, D.C., whether it's, I mean, on the child trafficking side or just these weird parties. I mean, it's really deeply disturbing. So based on your research, I mean, you know so many of these insiders who've been speaking to members of Congress and other members. Do you believe that Trump is on the side of the white hats with this, and that there is an active movement to try to maybe excommunicate some of these satanic forces in D.C.?
Yeah, totally. I mean, so to establish global peace, he has to remove the satanic deep state, which is behind all the wars and the imperialism that's been happening under the American flag for many, many decades. And that's what he's trying to do now with all these peace agreements. He's meeting with President Putin on Friday in Alaska. All of that is deeply symbolic about this white hat effort, this effort by Christians, leaders that believe in Christian values and in a positive future for America and for the planet, to come together and to remove these very dark Satanists from power wherever they are. So I think that's really what's happening right now in Washington, D.C. And in order for Trump to succeed and move not just the United States, but the whole planet into this future where we have open contact, then he has to bring about world peace. He has to remove the deep state Satanists from power. And he's using all the resources he has as president, as commander-in-chief to do that. And I think that's what's really happening in Washington, D.C. right now.
Well, I think people need to open their eyes to this. If for people watching this for the first time and this is like new information to them, I mean, just dive into the research.